So sound is okay, right? So thank you for joining us today. Very grateful. And like I said, I'm the Special Secretary DPIIT, looking after Logistics Division in Government of India. We are here today because we have organized a regional workshop tomorrow on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan, the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister to bring about holistic planning for stakeholders across major infrastructure projects, multimodal logistics connectivity, and whole of government approach in planning of the major infrastructure projects. So the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program, as you are aware, it was launched in October 2021, and the approach is a transformative approach, how to bring about seamless connectivity across multimodal infrastructure projects. This planning which we are doing on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program is enabled through GIS-based data layers which are put on the National Master Plan. All the ministries of Government of India have come together and they have put their data layers pertaining to their assets, whether they be road assets, railway assets, port-related, airport-related, waterways, renewable energy, power, telecom. So all the infrastructure-related assets have been put together on a portal which we call the National Master Plan. And why have we mapped all these assets on the GIS portal? So that all the departments can see these assets, and when they plan their major infrastructure projects, they plan for logistics efficiency. They plan for seamless movement of the multimodal connectivity. Let me give a few examples. If there is an expressway which is being planned, it should bring about benefits to the manufacturing clusters in that area, to the agricultural productivity areas. It should connect seamlessly with the railway network in that area. It should enable transportation up to the port in case there are export related items or there are items which have to be imported. There could be a manufacturing cluster which needs imports of raw material, or it is exporting products. So in this manner we have to make sure that there is holistic planning. Similarly, there could be a pharma cluster which is making vaccines, for example, and the vaccines have to be exported, so there should be airport connectivity. So now whenever we are planning major infrastructure projects, we sit together, all the infrastructure related ministries, we sit together in on an institutional platform called the Network Planning Group, and we plan these major projects to make sure that they bring about multimodal connectivity. So I just wanted to explain this in a little detail so that we get a good idea about how we are going ahead with the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program. To support the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program and the planning of these infrastructure projects, we have a logistics policy in place, which was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister in September last year, in September 2022. The logistics policy brings together a services improvement group across the various ministries of Government of India, where representatives from customs, from commerce, from housing and urban affairs, from road, railway, we sit together to resolve logistics service related issues. We have put in place e-logs, which is a portal whereby the businesses related to logistics can put up any issue which they need for redressal concerning logistics movement. We have also put in place a portal which is called ULIP, which enables tracking of movement of multimodal transport systems. So all these interventions come together under the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program. Having said this, I would like to mention that ever since the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan was launched about a year and a half back, the Network Planning Group has sat 44 times, and it has evaluated something like 66 major infrastructure projects which total to an amount of about 5 lakh crore rupees. So this is the kind of planning, this is the volume of planning which has been taken up at Government of India level. Same interventions are done in the states and the UTs. And now we would like the states and UTs to learn from each other, because some of the states are doing much better than others in planning their infrastructure in this holistic manner. So the idea of this workshop is to bring together the states to learn from each other, to demonstrate what we are doing at the national level, to demonstrate what many of the other states are doing in an exemplary fashion when they are planning their infrastructure. So we would like to demonstrate the state master plan features, do more technical hand-holding. We would like to showcase use cases. We would like to take up capacity building at a greater level, strengthen the institutional mechanisms in the states as well, basically enable cross-learnings, both from Government of India and within the states. And at the same time, like I mentioned, there are GIS-enabled data layers on the portal, on the National Master Plan and also the state master plans. Improving the quality of this data is very important, so that there is ground truthing, the data has a validation mechanism while it's being put in place, and it is authentic. Only then it can bring about meaningful planning. So this is the objective. At the same time, we would like this approach to penetrate up to the district level. To give a few examples, if the Anganwadi centers are mapped all over the country as they are being mapped, and also the schools are mapped, how to bring about better accessibility for the common people, for these schools, for the common public, so that each child can reach school. For instance, we see many girls do drop out when they have to go to high school, which may be at a little longer distance. So using the Gati Shakti approach, the district collector can plan better accessibility for the schools in his or her district. To give an example, the state of Uttar Pradesh has recently taken up a location of new high schools using the PM Gati Shakti program. They call it the Pahunch program, whereby accessibility to the schools is ensured using the planning on the portal. Similarly, Goa has rationalized the location of the schools by mapping them on the Gati Shakti portal and seeing how they can bring about better spatial distribution of the schools. Anganwadi centers accessibility has been mapped by the state government of Gujarat. So these are some examples where at the district level, the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program is being used for bringing better logistics, efficiency and accessibility for the common people. So we would like to have an outcome of this workshop that improves the planning of the infrastructure projects both at the national and state level on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti approach, and also improve the logistics efficiency and bring down logistics cost. You would have often heard that investors sometimes say that they would like to have an improvement in the logistics costs when they invest in India, and that is exactly the objective of the entire transformative approach we are talking about. One is the seamless infrastructure, so that there are no last mile connectivity issues, and at the same time bringing about logistics efficiency, which leads to lowering of logistics costs and makes us more competitive as an economy for the investors. For our workshop tomorrow, we have almost 100 participants, and they are coming from 5 states, including the state of Goa. We are welcoming participants from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, and they are coming, the officers are representing areas departments which look after infrastructure, the economic departments such as industry and planning, and also the social sector departments like school education, rural development, all the Manrega assets, for example, we are also mapping them on the Gati Shakti portal, so that they also connect, the district level roads connect better to state highways connect better to national highways, and national highways connect better to each other, and also to ports and railway stations and so on, like I just explained. We also have participants from Government of India representing the infrastructure ministries of road transportation, railways, shipping, petroleum, natural gas, telecom, power, and so on. Plus, we have our resource persons from various knowledge organizations, from various think tanks. So these are some introductory remarks from my side. If you would like to ask me any particular question, we would be very happy to answer. I have my colleague here with me, the Deputy Director General, the DDG who looks after logistics with us. And we have Secretary Industries from Goa. They've also done exemplary work in using the PM Gati Shakti program. So,
I have a question for you.
Yes.
See, Madam, Goa is a very small, tiny state. To have development in these small states like Goa, where the land is very scarce, it becomes very difficult to have, different types of infrastructure development. So many times people tend to, oppose many projects, because many times they feel that their houses will be demolished, they will lose a fertile land, all this kind of. So how these issues can be addressed? What you feel?
Okay, you asked a very pertinent question. That is exactly the kind of issues the PM Gati Shakti approach looks at. You are making a road, you need to avoid the forest, you need to avoid a telecom pillar which may be coming in the middle of your proposed highway. So since every asset is mapped already, the habitations are mapped, so how do you get the best alignment for your highway? So these are exactly the kind of issues the Gati Shakti approach seeks to, a whole of government approach. So in the past we would plan a road, but we in roads and buildings, PWD may not be talking to the power people. We don't know the power lines which may come in the way. We may not be knowing how to avoid the forest areas. But now, since everything is there, everything is on the map, on the portal, you can, avoid the forest area, which the clearances, take time. You can avoid the habitations, and you can bring about optimum efficiency in your project.
Right now in Goa, people are opposing the double tracking of the railway line, because they say that their houses are being demolished for this double tracking. So these are some of the very important issues. Will you be discussing on such issues in this?
Yes, we'll be discussing all such issues, because the railway people are also coming, and using the Gati Shakti approach, how do we avoid these kind of socio-economic issues which may come up, so that we are able to deliver the infrastructure in a faster manner without long gestation period, and for the maximum welfare of people and the economy. Are there any
master plan for the Goa state development?
Yes, would you like to answer? I think Svetika would like to answer.
Very good evening. So for Goa, we have already mapped about 97 layers. We were asked to map mandatorily 28 layers, but we have gone ahead. We have taken the example of Gujarat. We have contacted them. We have taken all of the layers that they have mapped, and then we've worked on it whether what GIS data was available in the state, and we have went ahead and we mapped. We've also tried to. So basically, the state master plan is these data layers that are mapped in the portal, and the data can be readily accessed when you want to do any kind of planning. So yes, the state master plan in that sense, we've already layered and we are ready with it. However, like ma'am said, we are still doing the proofing of the data, because the data is mapped. Every department has to go on the portal, and then they have to, and then slowly that work is also happening. So data reliability will also be enhanced. Goa, like ma'am said, we have in a pilot mode taken up a few projects from PWD, WRD. We've right now tried to map major projects or projects. For example, a very small project was done through Gati Shakti, which was the FCI godowns were mapped, and we saw that whether the transportation routes are more efficient, and we made a very small saving, but at least we could showcase how the portal could be used to understand what's the best route, and whether the GPS mapping of every vehicle is leading to the minimum distance coverage, and also saving of petrol, and then hence consequently the environment. So this is the statement.
I'd mentioned that we have mapped, we have assessed projects of almost 5 lakh crore rupees on the pertaining to Government of India on the principles of Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program, and these are across roads, across railways, across ports, across natural gas pipelines, and there are some projects like while we are planning the economic corridors, the National Industrial Corridors program is ongoing, and there are economic nodes on it. So while planning the economic nodes also, we are using the Gati Shakti program. The other day there was an economic node we were planning, and we could see that the power connections are already there. So we took that out of the project cost. So in this manner, we have done huge projects. If you like, I can name a couple of them. We have assessed the 4-lane access controlled greenfield highway section Warangal Khammam, this construction of railway line and the road worth 14,000 crores, and Marwar industrial cluster, Digi port industrial area, all this mapping we've done on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program portal. Similarly, 3 major railway lines have been taken up for doubling between, for example, Aurangabad and Ankai, to make sure that it serves potential freight traffic in those areas and passenger traffic in those areas, while connecting well with the existing national highways and state highways. So if you want, I can give some more examples. Otherwise, if there's any specific question you'd like to ask.
Madam, on one side we talk about development, and on
Yes.
the other side you also talk about the this changing environment and all these things, how it harms the environment.
Okay.
You have to cut the trees, forest. Many times you have to even cut down the big forest, like what do you call it? Wildlife is there,
Okay.
Sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries. So these are some of the issues. How you think you can address these issues?
Okay. See, like you asked a similar question previously. We have, the Environment Ministry has also mapped all the forest areas. All the mineral areas are mapped. The existing roads are mapped. The existing towns, cities, habitations are mapped. Power lines, telecom, ports, all the assets are mapped already on the GIS enabled portal. Now, when you plan an upcoming project, let's say a road project, you would like to avoid any harm to the existing ecology, right? So you can avoid the forest area, and that's exactly what we are doing. You avoid the wildlife area. You don't want to disturb the existing ecology. So that is the very strong benefit and advantage of the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan, that we are able to see the data layers of other departments and ministries and utilize it for holistic planning in a whole of government approach. So the expressway is planned to avoid the forest area, to avoid a power line which may be coming in the way, and to make sure that we have proper alignment which avoids all these obstructions and all these disturbances to the environment. So we would like to show you a demonstration actually, and maybe tomorrow sometime during the workshop, maybe the last part of the workshop, we could invite you to show you a demonstration of how the actual planning is happening on the portal. We could do that. I hope I'm able to, I'm giving you a little more detail because when you start discussing the concept, we need to be sure what we are talking about, and that's why I wanted to just introduce some of the concepts and give you a little more detail. I hope I have been able to give a clear understanding, but please feel free to ask questions.
Madam, any new projects for Goa?
Okay, Madam can tell better, but we have sanctioned some projects for Goa. There is a very important scheme of Government of India, which is the State Assistance Program. So there are 2 parts of that. Part 2 is under the scheme for special assistance to states for capital expenditure. Part 2 is dealt by DPIIT. So these are interest-free loans, 50-year-old loans which are given to state governments. So last year it was 5,000, in the current financial year it is 5,000 crores for DPIIT to allocate to the various states. Goa has taken projects worth 19 crore rupees under that. Would you like to tell us?
So, yes, we've been successful in getting 19 crore, and the money has already come and has exists with the department. Under this, we have taken up development of phase 4 Vanda Industrial Estate. So, in the first instance, but also we had gotten in principle approval to develop the Nagamrasa Industrial Estate because there were a lot of issues. However, we could only get 19 crores, and hopefully, if further the schemes extended, we'll be taking benefits.
You see,
The project is implemented by GIDC.
what are the components of the industrial estate? Would you like to tell us?
So there will be internal roads are there, other internal electrical works, all of the park development, including any stormwater drainage, etc. Everything is covered.
And there are some external roads already existing to the area.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Varna is as a developed industrial estate. So phase 4, which is the newer part of the industrial estates, ma'am, there we have proposed internal infrastructure work. So we should ensure that you just seamless connectivity to that, because still it is quite
So this is basically for this industrial estates.
industrial estates. Yes.
So how many, all industrial estates are particular, some particular?
No. So based on the amount that was allocated by the central government to Goa, which was only 0.3% as per delegation, so it amounted to 19 crore. So in the first instance, we have a proposed development of the phase 4 Varna industrial estate.
So this is a good example of the Gati Shakti approach. You have manufacturing clusters, you have industrial parks. They need both external and internal connectivity. You can't just allocate a piece of land and say this is an industrial estate. To attract investors, you need to give them trunk infrastructure inside the park as well as external connectivity. Now, if you see, for example, Sri City has proximity to ports, Chennai, Krishnapatnam, good expressway outside, national highways, internal infrastructure. So, this complete infrastructure is very important for logistics efficiency, and that's exactly what Madam is talking, Swetika is talking about the allocation for Goa, where they are taking up the internal trunk infrastructure for an industrial park phase 4. The external connectivity already being there. See, last mile connectivity and first mile connectivity issues are also very important when we talk of logistics. And if you see in the latest budget, the issue of last mile, first mile connectivity has been emphasized, and 75,000 crore rupees have been earmarked for bringing about bridging these connectivity gaps in about 100 critical infrastructure projects. So there could be a port where the last few kilometers of road, connecting road are missing, or there could be a railway station where the last few kilometers of the road are missing, or the railway line does not go up to a particular town. So these are the kind of connectivity issues which we look at, which we identify on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan. Using the National Master Plan, the railways, for instance, have identified some towns which have a population of more than 50,000, but they are not connected to railways. And now in the first phase, they are taking up 55 such towns for giving them connectivity, railway connectivity. Similarly, the Department of Power, the Ministry of Power, is now planning all the alignment of its power lines on the PM Gati Shakti program, again to avoid certain obstructions which may come in the way. Similarly, the Department of Telecom is planning the 5G rollout entirely on the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program. Chandigarh has been a very good case study for us, where 5G street furniture is entirely mapped using the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan. The Renewable Energy Ministry is also mapping all the renewable energy projects on the Gati Shakti portal. All the expressways, like I said, railways are already all mapped, and the data quality is something which we are very particular about.
This will be identified by the local government?
There are certain projects of the Government of India and there are certain projects of the state government. So the projects of the Government of India are mapped by the Ministry of Railways, for instance, or the MOT, that is Ministry of Road Transport,
So you will
Highways.
be taking the local people in confidence
Uh,
if the local people doesn't want the project in their area.
That depends on the implementing agency. What we are enabling is a holistic approach to planning. So we are enabling the planning approach, and we are also enabling logistics efficiency. To plan each and every project, the implementing agency will be doing the due diligence like it always does. It would be the ministry, it could be the state, it could be the district level authorities. We have another intervention which I would like to mention here. We have the project monitoring group that is also being integrated with the Gati Shakti program. The project monitoring group has all major projects, the monitoring of all the major projects, and what are the issues which are coming up in implementation of the projects. These are the issues which you are talking about, where the issues are resolved either at the district level or the state level, or if some of them are with us, maybe with the Ministry of Environment, then they are resolved at the ministry level.
Yeah, because the same thing is happening in this about the double tracking of the vehicle
Okay.
and all. So,
So,
how you look at it?
You see, that is for the Ministry of Railways to resolve with the local administration. So I'm not aware of the issue. What we are enabling is, like I said, we are enabling a holistic approach to planning. You can see while you plan the project how to best avoid any disturbances to the environment or so on and so forth.
To add to what he has said, there is a problem with Goa's 3 linear projects.
Okay. So maybe we can talk tomorrow. We'll have some officers from the Railway Ministry with us. We can talk tomorrow in a little more, they would know better than me.
Correct.
Yeah. So any questions please? Any curiosities about? Otherwise I'll invite you tomorrow for a post-workshop interaction. We will have 5 states with us, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Goa of course, and you can ask them more questions, what's happening across their geographical areas, and that would be more interesting.
Satna, which is the state which is doing a lot of work.
Okay.
In this area. It is UP or some other state?
Gujarat has done a lot of work, and they also have the advantage of having BISAC there, which is the national institute, which is the technical partner for us. So Gujarat has done a lot of work and they have done a lot of planning. The state of Madhya Pradesh has now decided that all infrastructure projects of 100 crore rupees and more will be planned entirely on the Gati Shakti platform. Uttarakhand has decided all projects 25 crore and more will be planned on the Gati Shakti platform. Other day I visited Andaman and Nicobar, and they have decided that all projects 4 crore and above will be planned on the Gati Shakti portal, exactly to avoid the kind of problems which you are mentioning. How to best plan the project while bringing about faster implementation and contributing to logistics efficiency, bringing down the cost of moving goods, bringing down the cost of people moving across the country or goods moving out of the country. So because that all gets added to your manufacturing cost. So if you are having logistics efficiency, you are more competitive as a nation which produces goods, which exports goods. We have the very ambitious project linked incentive program across 14 strategic sectors so that we nurture global champions in manufacturing in the country. So the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti program with the logistics policy goes very well with the manufacturing efforts which are going on. So you have greater manufacturing, you have global champions who will need a lower logistics cost to be more competitive and to be able to dominate global markets in terms of the goods they are producing. So all this is for taking our country ahead. The logistics policy and the Gati Shakti program will serve both manufacturing sector and the services sector the agriculture sector, all the sectors across. Yeah, make in India.